Okay, welcome back, you guys. This is part 4 of this talk about what the word church really means. And seeing, when you know what it really means, seeing, does that change how you view church? Does that change how you view being a Christian as? Do you view Christian as just going to a church building every Sunday? Do you think that's actually biblical? That you're a Christian automatically because you go to a church building? Now, this is something I want to share with you all. This is not this is probably not something you want to hear. It's not the most. Anytime something changes or challenges, rather, your preconceived, ideas or your traditions, is going to be kind of scary. I'm just going to read it to you all, and I'm going to see what you all think about this. I think it's fair. I think it's right to tell people the truth about things, and then they pray about it, and I pray about it. Before I start recording, I always pray. I pray almost before every single video that do you guys will, that people's eyes are open and that people are helped. So I did the same thing for this video, and I hope you all pray before you take anything I say, to make sure you ask the Lord, is it true? Is it of Him? Is it biblical? Okay, so this is what I want to share with you all. Now this is from a website, the aotfb.com/church.html website. Okay, so this guy says, wherever we find the word church in our English New Testament, it appears there as a direct translation of the Greek word ekklesia. However, the word church actually finds its root in the Greek word kuriakin. I don't know how to pronounce it. I believe it's kuriakin. Because the Roman church, which ruled exclusively for over 1,000 years, substituted a Latin rendering of kuriakin for ekklesia. So I'll tell you all what that means. Now, some people, it's very sad, but some people really believe that the Bible just descended from heaven, just like this, just descended from heaven in this form. From Genesis to Malachi in the Old Testament, and then from Matthew to Revelation in the New Testament, written in English all the way through. People don't understand that the Bible is just like, the way the Bible came together was like such an undertaking. It was authors spanning so many hundreds of years, and we just they collected some of their writings and put it in a book. There are many more writings they could have put in here, but they decided upon 66 books. And so the Bible didn't just come like this. Now you will notice the King James Version here, KJV, and that was because King James, I'm trying to find out where they said that. They said to do named King James. He made himself king over the Church of England, I believe. He made himself as the king over the Church of England. Okay, let me see right here what it says. Okay, yeah, let's say King James. Okay, yeah, here it goes. This is a website called therealchurch.com. Okay, it says, when the King James Bible was published in 1611, this right here, 1611, it was flawed before. Now, I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm just going to read what this website says. He says, when the King James Bible was published in 1611, it was flawed before it got started. Archbishop Bancroft, the head of the Anglican Church, set 14 rules of translation to maintain the doctrine and practices of the Anglican Church of England. King James made himself the head, I put quotation marks, head of the Church of England, and he required a translation which would facilitate his control over the church and the people. And they say James knew no bishop, no king. Okay, that's what they say. That's why we get the King James Version, which I still prefer King James Version, because they say it's been corrupted much since then. But that's why I prefer Young's literal translation, because it's as close as you can get to the original Hebrew and Greek. That's what they say. Now back to this other website I was at. So like I said, the Roman Church, they had exclusive rule for 1,000 years of this Bible, of these words. So for 1,000 years, they could word it however they wanted, translate it however they wanted. Remember, everyone did not know how to read back in the day. Nowadays, everyone can read just about. Back then, I think back then they said that the bishops would read to their congregations. They would pick out which books they would hear. So everybody couldn't read, and if they could all read, everyone didn't have access to a Bible like we do nowadays. So if the word was originally in Greek, they could just translate it to Latin, which they did do, and they just tell you, the Bible says, upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And you have to believe it, because you have to just trust them, take them at their word, because it's all you have. You don't have anything to check them against. Like nowadays, we have access to Greek Bibles. They have Bibles where they have the Greek, and then right under the line of Greek they have English. So we have access to that stuff now. Back then, we didn't have access to that kind of stuff. So you took whatever they told you. So what this website here is, I'm not saying I agree with everything they're saying. I'm just going to read you what they're saying. What this dude is saying is that the Roman Church, I'm thinking he means the Roman Catholic Church, that they had rule over Christianity for 1,000 years. And they had rule over this Bible for 1,000 years, over the Greek and Hebrew manuscripts. I'm just going to focus on the Greek manuscripts. They had access over it. So what they did was that for the word ecclesia that Jesus used, upon this rock I will build my ecclesia, or my assembly, what they did was that they substituted the word ecclesia for the word Kyriakin, which means of the Lord, or pertaining to the Lord, or dedicated to the Lord. So, and I told you all in the other part, that word Kyriakin is only used 2 times. 1 Corinthians 11:20, referring to the Lord's Supper, and then Revelation 1:10, referring to the Lord's Day. So, they took control of this Bible, and so I guess what these people are saying that they've done is that they made people think that what Jesus came to establish was a church building, with a bunch of church rules and everything. But when he really came, he wanted true believers. We're the temple now. We're the royal priesthood. We're the building, fitly framed together. When Jesus has the chief cornerstone, they say Peter is the foundation. We're the actual building. We are the building he came to establish. But some people think that, what Jesus came for was to make a brick building a big deal. He didn't come to make a brick building a big deal. And that's why so many people, Christians, are lost, because they think that, I go to this big building, this big brick building, that means that I'm a Christian. That does not mean you are a Christian. And it's really sad, because many people are going to be lost. I'm telling you all, if the rapture were to occur, during a Sunday, everyone in that church that Sunday would not go to heaven. Everyone would not go to heaven. Okay, I'm going to read part of Ephesians 2 to you all. Ephesians 2. Let's start at verse 19. Now therefore, ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of God, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets. So, I know Jesus said, I'm gonna build this church upon Peter. I found this assembly upon Peter, but they said the foundation is the apostles and the prophets. So all the apostles and prophets are the foundation, and it says Jesus Christ Himself being the chief cornerstone. It's like on the corner of the bottom corner of the building, the bottom corner of the building. That's a cornerstone, chief cornerstone. That's why it's called cornerstone. Verse 21: in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth into an holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of God through the Spirit. So we are the building. If you want a temple, we're the temple. The apostles and prophets are the foundation. Every building has a foundation. The cornerstone, chief cornerstone, is Jesus Christ Himself. And then all the saints, all the true believers, not true faith believers who are going to a building every Sunday, which I go to church. I believe in going to church. I myself go to. I just came from church. I'm not saying don't go to church. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying if you really want the temple, we are the stone. How they have like little cobblestone. They have like little rocks kind of built together, and they were fitly framed together. So if you had 2 rocks, you would fit them together like this, and build another on top of each other with the mortar and the rocks and the stones. And it says, in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth into an holy temple in the Lord. So we build up into the temple. Verse 22, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of God through the Spirit. So, that's like in the Old Testament, and Isaiah said His train filled the temple. His Spirit would dwell within this body of believers, not in the building. And if you look in the church, God's Spirit is not sitting in that church, in that of the Lord. Because what it really translates into is of the Lord. He's not really in that. He's in the body of believers. He's inside of us. So I hope that all helped you out to understand some things. You're not saved. You're not a Christian just because you go into a building every Sunday. You are a Christian if you are the really true called out ones of God. So I hope this helped you all out. Share this video. Leave comments. Thank you. Bye-bye.